Why is Hitler's art considered so bad? Adolf Hitler's art is not bad, it's just profoundly boring. Hitler was a very good draughtsman. He could paint buildings that look like real buildings, trees that look like real trees, and ponds that look like real ponds, but his work is utterly lacking in originality, in vitality, and in anything else that might make it memorable. For one thing, the colors in his paintings are extremely drab. His paintings seem to be always almost entirely brown, gray, black, white, and dark green. Looking at his paintings is like peering into a perpetually dreary, unpleasant world where the skies are always gray and no one is ever happy. The subject matter is also drab. Hitler really liked to paint buildings. That is not necessarily bad, many great artists have done paintings of buildings. The problem is that Hitler seems to have been more interested in them as buildings than as subject matter for a work of art. His paintings of buildings more look like architectural plans than anything you might see in a museum. Also, his paintings display a remarkable disinterest in human beings. There are rarely any people in his paintings at all. Whenever there's a street in one of his paintings, it's always almost completely deserted. On the rare occasions when there are people, they are just blobs that can barely even be distinguished from the background. Hitler was very good at the technical aspect of painting, but his works are utterly forgettable. His works are good enough for postcards, but they definitely aren't museum quality. Hitler could make even the most beautiful of buildings look absolutely boring. Below is a photograph of Schloss Neuschwanstein, a castle in southwest Bavaria. Notice the dramatic colors in this photograph. There is only one extant painting by Adolf Hitler in which he really tries to portray human beings realistically and up close, but, quite frankly, it's rather hideous. It gives you a sense of the reason why Hitler never portrays humans up close in any of his other paintings. The painting in question is one of the Virgin Mary holding the infant Jesus. The Virgin and Child is a standard scene that has been done literally a million times, which means, if you're going to try to paint it, you've got to do something to set your version apart from all the other versions that have already been done. Before I show you Hitler's version, I want to show you a few versions of the Madonna and Child by other artists, done in the style that Hitler was trying to imitate, to give you some impression of what it looks like when it's done well. Below is the Madonna del Granduca, painted in 1505 by the Italian Renaissance painter Raphael. Part of what makes Raphael's version stand out is just how utterly adorable the baby Jesus is. He's got that cute pudgy little face and those pudgy little arms. Meanwhile, you can really see the effort Raphael put into the shading and into the folds of Mary's dress. Overall, the painting looks very realistic. Adolf Hitler's actual painting of the Madonna and Child. It's not absolutely hideous, but it certainly doesn't stand up to comparison with either of the renditions I've just shown. Hitler clearly was not good at painting people. The shading is terrible. The figures look flat and two-dimensional. The proportions aren't right. The baby Jesus doesn't look cute at all, instead he looks, well, kind of creepy honestly. Both he and his mother look almost annoyed for some reason. Then there's that absolutely awful background with the disgusting yellow light that's absolutely flooding the whole picture. This is practically the only time Hitler uses any real color, but he does it in a way that just looks gross. Hitler's art really isn't that bad. He painted better than 99% of people. I cannot paint and draw like he did. While I have won several prizes on IPMS Finland and Model Expo competitions on figurine painting, I am not on his level. The problem was that he was an artisan, not an artist. His art lacked personal style, personal soul, personal touch, and he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. His paintings show decent handling of the topic, but his handling of human subjects is lifeless, two-dimensional. He shows skill and understanding of the artistic techniques. He would have made a fine architect or an industrial designer. Saying that he lacks talent would be wrong. He had the talent of an artisan, not of an artist, but he had bet on the wrong horse. The problem with being an artist is that it is a winner-takes-all industry, and rising to the top is often pure chance. There is always more artistic talent available than there is demand, and the vast majority of artists struggle at subsistence level. Hitler applied to the Academy of Fine Arts Vienna twice, 1907 and 1908. He was 18 and 19, respectively. Not many teenagers can draw like he did. And he didn't make it. Yet not many of his cohort ever rose to any prominence either. After just 10 years, the whole concept of art collapsed. World War I was a devastating blow to the fine arts and the whole artistic community. The result was Dada, a counter-reaction to the madness of war. All of art became madness. Dada was only the first wave of the various isms in modern and contemporary arts. It was followed by several other styles of art, each and every iteration madder and more insane than the last. Finally, the whole world of fine arts reached rock bottom in the 1970s. Everything had been experimented with. Everything had been tried. There were no more boundaries to break, no more techniques to be tried, no more insanities to be called art. Postmodernism came. Everything goes. The skill and creativity of an artist became moot. It is art if the artist calls it art. In the contemporary world of fine arts, Hitler would be an exceptionally talented and insightful, albeit a bit boring, artist.